Good morning and welcome to the Overtake Motorsport TCR UK Paddock Walk. My name is Gary Jones and I'm here at Castle Combe for rounds 7 and 8, so the fourth race meeting of this year's championship. And yeah, as I say, we're here at Castle Combe. These guys in front of me are just lining up ready to take the fifth race of the day, which is something saloon car championship. Sorry, I can't remember exactly what it's called. And they are getting ready to race in race 5, as I say, and it's slightly behind schedule. We're a bit behind schedule. We've had two quite sizable impacts today in the two races, race 1 and race 3. Race 1, in the Porsche Championship, we had a driver upside down in the last corner, and the last corner is just there. So that last corner, that is a very quick corner, and all the way around this track actually there's very little runoff if you get it wrong, and a Porsche driver locked up, went straight into the barrier there, ended up upside down. We had the ambulance out and all of that kind of thing. The driver was okay in the end, but it was about 20 minutes later or so before we got up and running, and that is the pit straight that we see. We also had a driver in race 3, which was the Mazda Cup or Mazda sort of local Castle Combe Championship, I'm not sure which. The first turn, which you might be able to see them going around there, I'm not so sure. There was about 3 of them ended up in the barrier. One of them, a driver had to be slightly cut out, so that was about another half an hour while they sorted that out. They sorted out the barrier again. So we are a little bit behind schedule, but I think they're slightly cutting out the lunch break a little bit, and the TCR stuff will all be as scheduled and as planned. So the TCR pit walk, let's just go and have a quick look what's going on. Let's explain to you about today, and let's just give you a flavour of the paddock, of the place. This is the first time I've ever been to Castle Combe. As a northern lad, it's a long way away. We're sort of just a few miles outside Chippenham, not too far from Swindon. It's a lovely place, really nice. It's a very club feel to the circuit, so you've not got the big buildings, the pit complexes, the pit buildings and all that kind of thing, so the teams have all got their own awnings, but no, it's a really nice place, really good looking circuit actually when you stand and look at it. So there is the TCR UK hub, if you like, so that's where all the drivers gather, where all the deals are done, where all the all the better media, if you like, are allowed to gather. So that is where everything's happening. I'm going to start with a bit of bad news, if you like. So we've only got 9 cars this weekend, unfortunately. Potentially 10, but it looks like there's only 9 actually going to be out on track. We've not really lost a few. There's just a few issues. I mean, we've got. Let me just take you through maybe the cars that are not racing then. So Howard Fuller that's done the full season in the Honda Civic. In fact, he's not done the full season because the owner of the team, Sean Walkinshaw, took over for the 2 races at Knock Hill, but that car's been out for the full championship. Unfortunately, they've had a sponsor pull out last minute. I think it was like first thing yesterday or something where it was announced they wouldn't be racing, and so there's no Howard Fuller. So that's one of the cars that are down. The BMR Academy, if you remember, we've had a old style Honda Civic for Josh Price for the last few rounds. He's unfortunately not here. We were also expecting Warren Scott in Ollie Taylor's old Honda as well, but they've decided not to come to this round just because, speaking to Josh the other day, he said that there was an issue in terms of the balance of performance with the old Honda, and they didn't feel it would be fair, and it didn't feel they would be competitive, so they've not come to this round. Hopefully that will be sorted out by next time. That's Carl Swift in one of the Cupras there, the guy on the right. That's Carl Swift. He's going to be racing in the Cupra later on. Another driver which is not going to be racing is unfortunately Darrell Wilson. He again has done the full year. He had a bit of a bad Brands Hatch round in terms of the engine was just not pulling. They had an ECU problem. I was told by Les Latham, who is like the part owner of the car, they had an ECU problem. They took that car all the way to Germany to get it fixed. They had it fixed, and Unfortunately, they've had a suspension failure here yesterday during qualifying. The car ended up in the middle of the in the middle of the track in a great big field. So they took that car out. They found that the suspension had collapsed, and unfortunately they can't get the parts ready in time for to get out on track today. So that's another car which we don't have. So yeah, we're down to 9 cars that we thought might be here that are unfortunately not here. The extra Hyundai for the Lewis and Kent, the Essex and Kent Motorsport team that already runs Lewis Kent. We were hoping, and they were expecting, in fact they announced for about 24 hours they would have another car out. So I think they'd found the driver, they got a car, but unfortunately the car had not been released in time by Hyundai to the team, so that's not actually running in the end, which is a pity. And Maximum Motorsport that we see here with the 2 Cupras, they've purchased from Motorbase Racing, they've purchased a Golf, and we thought that might be out as well, but I wonder if they've maybe not found the driver in time for that. So if all the cars were out that we thought might be out, we'd probably have had a grid of about 16 or even 17. Unfortunately we're down to 9, potentially 10, depends if the second Alfa Romeo gets up and run. But let's just have a look at the cars that are going to be racing. So this is Pyro Motorsport. The car on the left is today's pole sitter, Ollie Taylor. 0.003 of a second he's got that car on pole by, in front of Dan Lloyd, who obviously is our runaway championship leader so far. Dan Lloyd had scored every single point available up to this moment, when Ollie Taylor has just taken 2 points off him for the first race pole position here at Castle Combe. So that's Ollie there in the white t-shirt on the left. I can't remember if Ollie's actually second or third in the championship at the moment, but he's doing really well. Really quick driver. This car looks good on track, but it's very slidey. He likes the car, I think, quite moving around underneath him, which is good for driving his driving style, and it's good for lap time, but it's probably not the best way to go in a hot 30-minute race. And so let's see how he goes with that, and whether he can make the tyres last in that first race. He's been making cracking starts, and so he should really get off the line well. He should lead into the first turn, but let's see how that plays out. The other Honda here, good looking Honda here for Finlay Crocker. Finlay's qualified, if I remember, about 6th or 7th, so that's where he'll start the first race, and probably start about 3rd with the reverse grid in the second race. Just to remind you that the grid for the second race is actually the reverse of the second fastest qualifying time. So if your second fastest qualifying time is 8th place in a 9-car grid, you'll be starting second for race 2. So that's how that works. Stuart Lyons on the left here and Carl Swift on the right. These 2 Cupras, they went much better at Brands Hatch after the change of gearbox, and it looked like Carl Swift might get a podium in race 2. Unfortunately he was slightly turfed out by one of the Batmans. I think it was Andreas to start with, and then I think Jessica finished him off, and he ended up retiring. I think one of the front steering arms or something was bent, and he ended up off the track, and that was it. So that was promising, but unfortunately it didn't pay off. Hopefully a better day today. So that's 2 of the teams. That's Pyro and that is Maximum Motorsport. So let's go around here where we will find the rest of the teams. Yeah, look, it's an interesting paddock, isn't it? It reminds me of my go-karting days with me and my dad just kind of going out. You've got awnings everywhere. It's really a nice little track, and it's, yeah, quite a club feel to it. It feels like it's nothing sort of taking itself too seriously or anything. It's a nice place. This is a really nice place, and obviously on a day like today that makes it look even better as well. This is the Yokohama team. The tyres, obviously Yokohama for TCR, and that is the Wilson Motorsport Astra that unfortunately we won't be seeing today, as it's slightly bent, and there's a few parts that they need that they haven't got. Unfortunately they haven't got time to get them on the car, so we won't see that unfortunately, but we'll see them back, I'm sure, at Alton Park. The next round of TCR, 3 weeks time, or just less than 3 weeks time actually. It's the 4th of August. The whole meeting runs on a Saturday, so they'll have the free practice, they'll have the qualifying, they'll have the 2 races all on the same day. So very important that you get it right straight away, and that you don't go bending anything. But yeah, back to today, West Coast Racing. We saw them at the on the last Paddock walk, and these cars for this weekend have now been given the maximum compensation weight, so they are now 60 kilograms up, and as my understanding, they're the only team that's running compensation weight. So whether that's what's made them a little bit slower. I say a little bit slower. Dan Lloyd's qualified 0.03 of a second behind Ollie Lloyd. It's not. It's obviously not making that much difference. But that's Dan Lloyd's car, championship leader, and of course now BTCC race winner after winning race 3 at Croft. Andreas Bachmann's car at the back, and Jessica Bachmann's car here, just at the front. Compared to when we did this at the last race at Brands, there's not a great deal going on. So they're obviously happy with all of the teams are happy, obviously, with the preparations and things. It's about 20 minutes to go until the cars are released out onto the grid. But as I say, we may be slightly delayed, so maybe they know something that I don't. There's Andreas Bachmann there, just sat down in the grey top. Andreas starts, I think, third in the first race, and he had the quickest second fastest qualifying lap, if that makes sense. So he will start last basically in the second race, so third and last for Andreas. Interestingly, Dan, he only did, well, I think he did 8 laps altogether in qualifying, but he only did 1 lap, which was actually quick. And I think what he's done is he's probably said, okay, we've got only 10 cars on track, and the top 10 are reversed in the second in the second race. I think he's probably just put 1 crazy quick lap in, and then he's put a slowish lap 2 in to look like to basically make it a sort of 9th or 10th position in the second qualifying lap list, if you like. And so we get, say, a front row start in race 2, and that's worked out nicely. So he is going to be second on the grid for race 1. He's going to be in pole position on race 2, which is not what you expect, because he's been fighting through from the back and won each of the second races so far. But he's obviously played the game. He's had a think and decided that's the way to go, and he's the only driver that's done that, and yeah, good luck to him, it's worked out. So that is West Coast Racing. Again, the guys come all the way from Sweden, I think, so it's great to have them here. And these are the Alphas that we did not see last time out, because they qualified at Brands and they had the engine problems, and so by the time it came to Sunday morning and me doing this little paddock walk, they'd gone home. But here they are. So the car on the left is Palmer's, and he is a driver that we've seen for all the rounds so far this year. But the last time that we saw the cars, remember, they were in the blue Laser Tools livery. It's now changed to the more sort of Alfa Romeo livery, and yeah, that car's been running. That car seems to be going well. It's this car here, Robert Gilmore's, that has had the issues. Speaking to the team earlier on, they were hoping to get some parts to get fitted so that the car could be out. If the car is out, they will be last on the grid for both races with Robert Gilmore's car. So let's hope we see them. Even if they do have to start at the back, it would be nice to get up to 10 cars, wouldn't it? So as I say, there's not a great deal going on, is there? There's nobody really to maybe have a chat with. Let's go and see the last car that we've not seen out of all the TCR cars, which is the Lewis Kent, Essex and Kent Motorsport Hyundai. So hopefully next time we see them at Alton, there'll be 2 of these, but at the moment it's just the 1. And they're fairly happy with this and how things are going this weekend. P5 for the first race, P4 in the second. Quickest qualification puts them again P5, so they've got 2 P5s in terms of grids for this weekend. So let's see how they go. Okay, and I think that's basically it. I think we are, let's just go and have a look what's happening in Parc Ferme. Let's see whether the saloon car race has gone out yet or not. I think it's still the Formula Thousands that are out on track. And I'll tell you what we'll do, just to finish it off, let's go and see if we can just get on the pit wall and show you a bit of the action as they're coming around that last turn, because it's absolutely crazy. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't like to drive around here, because if you got it wrong, you're in the wall. As we've already seen in 3 races, we've seen two ambulance visits, which is obviously not what you want. So let's just try and Get through here. We should be allowed. We've got a blue vest on.